This is a response to Silversoul and maybe to one or two comments commented on my video about the spiritualization of science, which I think I called something like uh, big spiritual science, something like that. Anyway, what I was talking about in that video was this idea that um, that we there's a common tendency right now to look to science as an inspiration for ways of thinking, emotional states, concepts which I would designate as spiritual, um, states of mind like awe or reverence or feelings of connectedness, all those kind of states which traditionally have been associated with religion, I find often applied to science, either in the language of science writers or in the imagery and the kind of music that accompanies lots of documentaries about big science particularly. And just in a lot of the rhetoric of which particularly things like YouTube videos, which often combines the language of science with the language of spirituality and religion, as if it's the same. It's not as if it's the same kind of thing, but as if it's designed to induce the same kinds of spiritual longings or the same kind of spiritual satisfactions. I mean, that's what I was getting at with that, really. And I did ramble a bit, so I'm a bit incoherent, but. I don't think what I'm saying, or at least I don't think I'm just saying that it's about redistribution of wealth. I don't think I'm just saying that we should take the money that's currently being spent on the LHC or the Hubble or anything else and just kind of give it to people uh, who've got problems, who are in poverty. And I do think that, but that's not what I was trying to say in this video. What I was trying to express in there was my frustration of the elevation of those projects to the status of a spirituality in preference to other things, because there are plenty of things we can be spiritual about, or I'm a little bit reluctant to use that word spiritual, but there are lots of if we absolutely have to engage in these kinds of feelings, these feelings of awe and reverence and connectedness and those things I've mentioned before, if we have to do that, why are we doing that? Why are we showing pictures of the LHC? Why are we showing pictures of the Horsehead Nebula as taken by the Hubble Space Telescope? I mean, yes, these are beautiful images and they're very interesting, but they represent a kind of technology of spiritual management which is horrendously expensive and which does very little for humanity. It isn't to say that those projects don't have merit, because of course they do, but as representative of a kind of spiritual engagement, they have an odd structure. I mean, in your video, Jonathan, you talked about, for example, how land reform would, seriously help to solve the problems of poverty. Other kinds of wealth redistribution strategies would really, really help. The getting rid of the third world debt. Fantastic idea. Of course, we should do that. Why aren't those ideas spiritualized? That's my question, I suppose. Why am I not seeing YouTube videos or documentaries on the Discovery Channel or books about those topics, talking about the people that you mentioned, the ideas people that you mentioned, or talking about these practices, talking about the IMF just getting rid of world debt in spiritual terms? Why is it not those images that we're accompanying with Enya music, and all feeling quite kind of fluffy about? But it isn't, I mean, it's I guess it's the place we're looking to our spirituality. We're not looking to human interest. We're not looking to fairness. We're not looking to the preservation of and the maximization of human pleasure. You know what I mean? None of those things are being looked to as a source of spirituality, which I would say that I think they should. If you have to have it, those are the places they should be looking. Instead, we're looking out into the stars, or we're looking down into subatomic particles, which is an odd place, I would say, to look for spirituality. Particularly since at the same time you have to kind of, while you've got your eye on the telescope or your eye on the microscope, you're kind of taking your eye off the rest of humanity, it seems to me, which is a bit of a shame. Yeah, I guess that's all I'm saying, really. It's yeah. I just get very frustrated with those kinds of videos, those kinds of appeals not even to sentiment, because it's not sentiment. Those appeals to a kind of higher power, It just looks like, as I said in a previous video, it just looks like that kind of privileging of a certain kind of viewpoint as the source of spirituality. Looking outside of human feeling and outside of human suffering for sources of spirituality, to the mysteries of the atom or the mysteries of the cosmos. Now, those mysteries are there and they're fascinating, but why, as I say, why look to those as the site of spirituality? It's as daft as looking for a guy in a beard in a cloud. It seems to me it's the same drive that's pushing that quest for spirituality out towards the Horsehead Nebula or down towards the Higgs boson. That's it for me, really. Anyway, I hope I'm maybe sort of slightly clearer in this video than I did in my last one, and thanks for the response and for the excellent comments.